Hello and thank you for clicking on this Destiny 2 video. In this video I'm going to be showing you a Warlock build that is going to turn you from the lowest DPS in your raids to the highest DPS monster in your raids. This build just changes our Well of Radiance from being a purely support super to a damage monster when we are using it for us as the Warlock. To begin with, I'm going to show you the build and the weapon variations you can use for certain bosses, and then I'm going to show you what a optimal DPS phase would look like. So to begin with, we are going to look at our exotic chest armor piece, the Sanguine Alchemy. This is, while we are standing in any rift, this counts as our Well of Radiance as well as our empowering and healing rifts. Damage on a target will mark it. We will deal extra damage to these marked targets, and we will gain bonus damage with weapons that match our super, in this case solar weapons. Next up, we are going to be looking at our Dawnblade. We are obviously using the Well of Radiance, and we are using the Healing Rift. I like to use the Healing Rift as we're going to get massive damage from our exotic chest piece. There's no point using the Empowering Rift, let's just stick with the Healing Rift. For the melee and grenade, it's entirely up to you. Grenade, I would choose a high damage grenade as we are going to be using this for DPS phases in boss fights. Next up for the aspects, Touch of Flame. This is going to enhance our grenades, just meaning we can deal a bit more damage in them DPS phases with whatever grenade we choose. I personally like to use the fusion grenade. And then next up we have Icarus Dash. This is just going to help with mobility so that we can get around the mechanic phases easier and just help us out in them phases. Next up for the fragments, we have Ember of Beams. Now this is mainly just to give us more super stat, that's all we're after on this one. Next up, Ember of Solace. Radiant and restoration effects applied to us have increased duration. Increased radiance means more damage. Increased restoration means more survivability, so that we're not wasting revive tokens or missing out on DPS phases by being dead. Next up we have Ember of Torches. Let's say we don't have our Well of Radiance, we can use our powered melee attack and then become radiant from that. And then finally we have Ember of Ashes. We apply more scorch stacks to targets. This is going to help us with certain bosses as well as dealing with certain adds in mechanic phases. Next up for the weapons. My personal choice for weapons, if it is a close range boss, would be Lord of Wolves with a solar heavy weapon. Lord of Wolves is a damage monster at the moment. It deals a ridiculous amount of damage. It's also solar, so it's going to be boosted with our exotic chest piece and our weapon surges as well. I would also recommend a solar heavy weapon. I like to use the Apex Predator, as for damage phases I can shoot out the first 2 rockets, swap to my Lord of Wolves and then shoot 2 more rockets at the end. However, if we were doing a long range boss, we might swap it to a just add clear secondary, pull out a Mint Retrograde, and we could even pull out a Sleeper Simulant for, let's say, Oryx or Whisper of the Worm, and we can use these 2 for long range bosses, and then I like to use the Lord of Wolves for short range bosses. In terms of our artifact for this season, it's all personal choice pretty much, but Fever and Chill is nice to have as we're going to be using solar weapons. As long as we hit critical hits, we will get Radiance. Let's say we don't have our Well of Radiance, this is another way to get Radiant for the DPS phases. A must have is Shoulder to Shoulder. This is just a gimme for raids. And then Shield Crush is quite nice as well. We're going to be Radiant quite a lot, we'll get our grenade back faster. And then Radiant Shrapnel can be good for add clear for their mechanic phases to get to DPS phase. In terms of weapon stats, we are going to highly focus on weapons because we don't actually deal any super damage or any damage with any other sort of source. Weapons is our primary damage source, so we're going to go as far as we can into weapons while also keeping our super up a little bit, that way we can get it for multiple DPS phases. I have found that at 80, more than likely you can get it for every DPS phase. Let's say for Oryx, you can use it on the first phase. Once everyone's used their supers and you've collected all them orbs, by the time you get to the second DPS phase, you should have your Well of Radiance up and ready again. So for stats, to reiterate, weapons as high as you can. I would then focus super, and grenade normally comes along with weapons because of the armor set they come as, which is the Gunner Armorer. In terms of mods for the helmet, I've got siphons and special ammo finder. That's going to help with getting ammo for our Lord of Wolves between phases. For the arms, nothing here is really going to help with DPS, so I've just got energy cooldowns here. For the chest piece, damage resistances change where you can. And then for me, I've got increased ammo generation on strand weapons. I'm going to be using a strand primary when I'm using the Lord of Wolves build. So this is going to help me get my Lord of Wolves ammo from doing ad clear between DPS phases. In terms of the legs, we need 2 solo weapon surges. This is going to boost our solo weapon damage and it's going to help out a lot. And then for the last one in the legs, I like to use recuperation. This is just going to help with survivability between damage phases. And then for the class piece, I like to use 2 time dilations. This means our armor charges will last longer. Our armor charge is going to help with our solo weapon surge. So we're just trying to make it so that between sort of mechanic phase of clearing ads and getting to boss DPS phase, we want to make sure that we still have some armor charges. That way we're not wasting our solo weapon surge armor mod. Now in terms of a optimal damage phase, I'm going to show you a Lord of Wolves one to begin with. Now it's very simple. A optimal DPS phase for something like this, let's say we have a close range boss, I'm simply going to fire out or summon my super. As you can see on the left side of the screen, we have weapon damage boost times 4. Shoot out both my rockets with my solar heavy, then swap to my Lord of Wolves and just melt the boss with the Lord of Wolves. And we're just going to use 2 or 3 mags of this and then swap back to the heavy and shoot out whatever's restocked in our heavy from perks we have on it. As you can see, not bad damage, 40k on Combat Carl. Now if we were doing a longer range boss, let's say Oryx for example, I would then use the Nullify for ad clear, I'd put on the Mensch grade for some DPS, as well as maybe a Sleeper Simulant for DPS. And it would literally be the exact same thing, except we're doing long range this time. So to start off the damage phase, we would drop our Well of Radiance, Oryx or something would spawn in, I would then use my heavy weapon, or my heavy weapon, there we go, my heavy weapon, and we would just chunk the boss using our heavy weapon. As you can see, we are hitting for 3.5k, while if we weren't in that, we would be hitting for 2.5k. So we are getting an extra 1000 damage for every shot just from using the exotic chest piece with the Well of Radiance. However, we also get the buff for our Healing Rift. As you can see, we've gone from 2.5k to 3100, so we are getting 600 more damage from having the Healing Rift. So let's say you don't have your Well of Radiance, just pop down your Healing Rift and you will get not as much damage buffs, but you'll still get a damage buff regardless on your solar weapons. And that is everything to do with this build. It's a very simple build, but it's going to stop you from being the lowest DPS on the leaderboard, from rocking the Well of Radiance, to being one of the heaviest hitters in your raid lobby. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and subscribe. All the support recently has been insane. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you very much for watching.